If it's Monday night, it is the Wrestling Forum. Hello, friends. It is Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio. Once again, sitting in tonight for the Hardcore Pipe on Derek Pereira. As you all know, Derek is on a leave of absence from the Wrestling Forum. Will not be with us for a while. So I will be filling in for him until he comes back, whenever that is. We don't know. Another note, I just received a message from Michael Bullock. Michael Bullock will not be joining us tonight. He is on a family vacation, first and foremost, but he said there was a slight chance he was going to be on, but he just notified me a moment ago that the Wi-Fi where he is not good. So since there's a bad connection there, Michael Bullock will not be joining us either, in addition to Derek Ferreira. So with that said, Two Dudes with Attitudes runs the show tonight. The Big Daddy Cool Diesel to my Shawn Michaels. That would be the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher. He's joining. He'll be joining me here tonight. So yeah. So the partnership is the band is back together, so to speak. So with that said, let's dive right in, because we got an unbelievable show to get through here tonight. I mean, my goodness, what a show this was tonight. Yes, Monday Night Raw was live tonight from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the Verizon Center, the home of the NHL's Washington Capitals and the NBA's Washington Wizards, and also at times the Georgetown Hoyas men's basketball team. They play some home games there at times. So, yeah, that's the venue for tonight's show. And yeah, so let's dive right in. Of course, we started the show tonight with an in-ring segment. Of course, it was with surprise, surprise, a variation of the Authority. It was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, along with Kane and J&J Security, and oh boy, what a difference a week makes. You remember last week on this show, we said that the in-ring segments were better than the wrestling matches itself. Well, major 180 this week, because the wrestling matches, all with the exception of one, maybe two, the wrestling matches delivered tonight, whereas the in-ring segments, well, not so much. In this one here, oh, this was a mess. This was a mess. I mean, don't get me wrong, Seth Rollins was far and away the star of the segment, but last time I checked, this was Monday Night Raw, not The Price is Right. I mean, it kind of had to feel like a Price is Right, a Let's Make a Deal type thing, you know, even though I love both shows. Don't get me wrong. I love Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right. You know, I would watch those every day on Channel 12 here in Rhode Island. And, well, I would watch it off my DVR because I'm usually not up at that hour. But nonetheless, I mean, for a second there, I mean, you know, Big Show would come down, but we'll get into him in just a moment. I mean, it was kind of like The Price is Rollins. I mean, the live crowd looked like they were getting tired of the segment. But, yeah, I mean, Rollins, we all know. Rollins is awesome. But let's see what happens. Let's see if we can try to grasp this whole thing. Of course, you know, Seth Rollins wanted to reward his minions, if you will, for their help in him and Seth Rollins taking out Brock Lesnar the week before, and then, he gives them gifts. Okay, Seth Rollins would first off give the brand new Apple Watches to all three guys. And then on top of that, he rewards Kane with I guess we could say, an all expense paid trip to Hawaii for a vacation. And then on top of this, he awards J&J Security with a brand new Cadillac, some new Cadillac, and in excess of $55,000. I mean, oh, good grief. I mean, but the good thing about that was, I mean, they had a beautiful baby girl model showing it off. I mean, like you would see on Let's Make a Deal, The Price is Right. You know, like your Tiffany Coins and your Rachel Reynolds and your Amber Lancasters and Manuela Arbeláez, if you will. I mean, the girl was almost kind of looked like Rachel Reynolds to me, if I'm being honest with you. She had a little bit of a resemblance to her, but beautiful young baby girl. But the thing was, not even that would be. But and then when, you know, Rollins gave Kane the trip to Hawaii, He had friggin' a hula band out there, hula dancer, and a couple of down-hole rejects. Good grief, man. Oh. I can honestly say, I mean, as much as we love Seth Rollins' body of work, let's not kid ourselves. We love Rollins' body of work. We do. But, oh, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it was a train wreck and a cluster, you know what. And I can honestly say, far and away, one of the worst opening, if not the worst opening segment I have ever seen. It'll rank right up there as one of the worst opening segments on a Monday Night Raw. And don't get me wrong, it was definitely far and away the worst opening segment of this year on Monday Night Raw in 2015, far and away. Even though we love Rollins' work, but cluster bleep, train wreck. I don't know how else I can describe this. So with that said, I'm going to throw it up now to the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, and I know he's getting ready to go. We talked about this a little earlier. We had a brief chat earlier, and I know he told me that he was actually thinking about ripping on this segment. And if he rips on this segment, well, I don't blame him. So, Cerebral Viper, I'm letting you out of your cage.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it like this. First off, hello everybody. I was so disgusted with the segment. I mean, you want to talk about pointless and unnecessary and basically a joke? That's what the segment was. This was a complete and utter joke. And I mean, this is supposed to be Monday Night Raw. And what they threw down our throats was practically one of the worst meaningless segments in wrestling history. I mean, that's how bad this was. And I could not believe the nerve and the gall of WWE to really shove this down our throats. And yeah, I understand they're trying to make Seth Rollins, be sympathetic, a nice heel because of the fact that, he did help out. He did get some help from, J&J Security and Kane for what he did last week. But the one thing that I actually respected was, he did acknowledge the fact that, Jamie Noble got hurt. And, I wanted to commend Jamie Noble for what he did because, it's not easy coming back from a pretty nasty injury like he did, but it was a nasty injury nonetheless. And then to turn around and say, and then remember, Kane had so much of his career that he did and show the respect and the love for what he has done for professional wrestling. And I get that. I get all that. But to do the thing with the iPhone watches, I mean, okay, fine, whatever. But then to go into the level of absurdity, you talking about a brand new car for J&J Security, an all expense paid trip to Hawaii for Kane, and all that. I mean, it almost was bordering of what the bleep is this? Is this what 3 hours is gonna be like? Is this gonna be what we're gonna have to see tonight? I almost was disgusted. I mean, I was so disgusted. I actually changed the channel because I didn't see any more of it. I basically got so disgusted. I basically wanted to walk out, and I didn't really care. What I was basically at the point where I could not get two what's about this. If this is what Raw was going to start off with, then forget it. I'm done. I was literally gonna walk out. I wasn't gonna be on the show tonight because I was not gonna review a lame old Monday Night Raw. But luckily, there was some really good things that made me want to stay. Trust me, I was that close from walking out tonight, and I would not even give a damn. Florio, it's yours.
Wow. Yeah, thank goodness for the rest of the show, or else otherwise I would have been doing this by myself, and that would have been humiliating, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, we're gonna move on. Let's move on from that. But unfortunately, it doesn't really. it gets worse, believe it or not. You thought that was bad. Oh, the Big Show against Mark Henry. Yeah, is that gonna get you riled up for a show? I don't really think so. Winner of the match in a whopping 1 minute and 20 seconds. It was the world's largest athlete. It was the Big Show. And Michael Fletcher, I'm sorry to do this to you, man, but I got no choice. Your thoughts?
Yep, that's all right. That's all right. Look, by default, I'm sorry. It is probably the worst fight of the night. There's really nothing else to talk about. Florio, I give it to you.
So I guess you're calling it a dud then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure because you didn't give a rating, a clear rating. But all right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is an absolute dud. It was the worst fight of the night. I mean, nothing like the matches they had a few years ago. You remember a few years ago, Big Show and Henry had a feud, and some of the matches actually weren't that bad. I mean, some of them were actually pretty solid, but this was nowhere close. I mean, it was a damn near 90-second fight, and yeah, it was basically a showcase for the Big Show, and of course, obviously, it was to put over the upcoming triple threat match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, where the Big Show will be going up against the Ryback and the Miz, and yeah, so Fletch is absolutely right. Absolute dud. So we're going to move on from that, and we're going to move on to our next matchup. Speaking of the other two men in the Intercontinental title matchup, it was Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Ryback versus The Miz, non-title matchup. Winner of the match via countout in 5 minutes and 10 seconds. It was Ryback. And I'm going to give this a solid 2 stars. I thought there was some good action in this one. I was leaning more towards 2.25, 2.5, but since we had one of the things we have zero tolerance for on this show, a cop-out finish, where Miz just basically walked out and said he had enough, I had to bump it down to the 2 spot. So 2 stars, maybe 2.25 for the effort here. Because like I said, there was some solid, okay action. Definitely better than the Big Show Henry mess. So now we know, we've already known that it will be Ryback, Miz, and Big Show for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat at the Battleground in St. Louis. We don't know. There's no really clear-cut favorite in this one. We don't know who's going to go over. I'm leaning towards Ryback right now, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But definitely a showcase for it definitely makes Ryback and Show look like the favorites and Miz as somewhat of the underdog here. So that's really all there is. So solid, okay match, nothing really special. It's a 2-star fight because of the cop-out finish. So that said, Fletch, your thoughts?
No, I agree with that. I'll give it at least 1 3/4 to 2 stars is my rating for the fight. It was a cop-out finish, but it was also basically that it's gonna prove that the Miz is gonna want to he's gonna want to pick his moment, pick his spot when he's gonna try to go after and do what he wants to do and try to win this fight and not only win the fight but try to win the title. So I get it why he's trying to show that I'm going to be 1 step ahead. I'm going to let the 2 monsters destroy each other. I'll just try to pick the bones or try to catch one of these 2 napping. It's a smart strategy, a good idea if you're a smarmy heel like he is, but I truly believe that it's going to backfire at the end, and I truly believe that Ryback will successfully defend the Intercontinental title. I think he's right now he's probably going to be the favorite going. I think he's the favorite going in. He does have a little bit of momentum, not a lot, but enough momentum that I think it would carry the day. So I agree with what you said for the most part, Anthony, but I have to say that my money is on Ryback to successfully defend the title. So if you want a prediction, there it is. Ryback wins and keeps the belt. So let's move on.
Yeah, I mentioned that I was leaning towards that myself. That's my early projection right now, but formal preview coming when we do our Battleground preview show the weekend of Battleground, July 18th, most likely. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So with that said, let's move on. And this is where the show really, really started to pick up in a good way. And believe it or not, of all things, it was the Divas that actually started it off. It was Alicia Fox, accompanied by the Bella Twins, going up against Paige. Winner of the match in 9 minutes and 35 seconds, it was Paige. So with that said, Michael Fletcher, this is really where the show started to take off in a good way.
Oh, it took off in a good way, and boy, did it take off big. I mean, I gotta admit, Anthony, this was one of those fights that actually pleasantly surprised us. I think we both can agree with that. 2.25 stars is my rating for the fight. I thought they did a tremendous job. Alicia Fox and Paige, there's always that preaching about give a diva a chance. They got the chance. They got plenty of time in the night. I kind of wonder if this was Triple H, if Triple H was the head guy and the head writer for this segment, because this kind of has Triple H's and Stephanie's hands all over it. As many of you know, especially in the dirt sheets, Triple H and Stephanie has really been preaching about giving divas a chance, getting that opportunity, letting them fight. And normally Vince has kind of been trying to hold them down, doing the whole diva stuff. I kind of got a feeling in the back of my mind this might have been Tripp's responsibility, because tonight the ladies looked absolutely flawless in the ring. Yeah, I think the ending has a little bit of a McMahon on them, because it was the dreaded roll up of doom, and which I guess we don't really like. However, the pace of the fight, the quality of the match, the body of work from Alicia, from A Fox and Paige was absolutely perfection. They worked really good in the ring together. I loved this fight. To me, this is the TV Diva Fight of the Year for WWE. 2.25 stars is my rating. Anthony, go.
Slight disagreement, Fletch. I think you underscored it just a tidbit, if I'm being honest, just a tad, because I'm actually going to give this 2.5 stars, because I thought this was a really, really good match. And I'll even go as far as to say this was the sleeper fight of the night. I mean, for the last few weeks or so, we've been crapping on the diva fights, doing our usual shtick that we've done on this show, for the last 3+ years, saying, oh, typical ho-hum diva fight, blah, 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 and all that good stuff. No, this was anything but a typical ho-hum diva fight tonight. This was almost something you would see from NXT, for God's sakes, or even like the TNA knockouts. I mean, it was definitely a much better wrestled match. They actually got more time. I mean, usually diva fights average about 2 to 3 minutes. This one got almost 10 minutes. That's almost like the men getting 30 minutes, for God's sake. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, a great effort from both Paige and Alicia Fox. I mean, I know, over the years, Alicia Fox has gotten a bad rap, as, one of those who can't wrestle, a la an Eva Marie or a Cameron or a Summer Rae or whatnot. But no, Alicia Fox looked really good tonight. Paige looked great too. I mean, yeah, I mean, they tried to go for another screwy finish there. The move that Paige won with, I mean, it wasn't really, your typical roll up. It was like one of those fancy roll ups, like almost like a sunset flip kind of roll up thing. But nonetheless, Paige got the win. And, well, now we don't know. I mean, what are they going to have in store for the Divas come Battleground? I mean, does this put Paige in line for another title shot? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on this. But, like the late Gorilla Monsoon would always say, I mean, this thing is far from over. And, we're going to definitely keep an eye on how this plays out, over the next few weeks. We still got quite a ways to go until Battleground. I mean, we're 20 nights away from Battleground. It's not until July the 19th from the Scottrade Center in St. Louis. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So, but I do agree with Fletch's sentiments. WWE Diva Fight of the Year 2015 so far, surpassing the Paige and Nikki Bella match for Money in the Bank just a couple weeks ago in Columbus. So to me, Fletch said 2.25. That's a respectable rating, but I respectfully disagree on that. I think it's a tad underscored. I think it was more of a 2.5-star fight, to be honest with you. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars and call it my sleeper fight of the night. Well done, ladies. Great effort. So what they're going to do with the Divas come Battleground, I have no clue. So with that said, let's move on. Oh boy, here we go. Oh man, I cannot wait for this. And I feel bad because the luck of the draw, I get the luck of the draw on this one. John Cena, United States Heavyweight Championship Open Challenge. It's on. We all thought it was going to be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens says, nah, I'll wait till Battleground. But don't worry, we got a suitable replacement. Cesaro. Yes, Cesaro, the Swiss Superman. I mean, we all know about Cesaro. Unfortunately, his partner, Tyson Kidd, underwent neck surgery recently. He's going to be out big time indefinitely. He's going to be out in excess of a year. So that's going to be major hard times. And of course, Natalia, the manager, will be by Tyson's side for a little bit until Tyson's in a position where he can take care of himself. So that's according to the dirt sheet. But nonetheless, let's get into this. It was John Cena. It was Cesaro, United States Heavyweight Championship, Open Challenge. Winner of the match via disqualification in 20 minutes and 15 seconds. It was Cesaro. Oh, my. If only we had gotten a clean finish here, regardless of who it was. I mean, we all knew Cena was going to walk out with the belt anyway. But whether Cena kept the belt or they did the unthinkable and put the belt on Cesaro, a clean finish regardless, we would have had the first 5-star match on a Monday Night Raw since John Cena and CM Punk had that 5-star classic back on February the 25th of 2013 in Dallas, Texas, the American Airlines Center, where the winner got to fight The Rock at WrestleMania for the title. Match that, of course, John Cena won. Disqualification finish because of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens had to ruin what was going to be a 5-star classic of a match. The match technically was a 5-star classic, but the thing is, because of the DQ finish, we have to take some points away. So I know Fletch and I are going to agree on the rating. I'm just going to come out and say it, and I know Fletch will agree with me, and I'll, let him go on his Cerebral Viper rank. I know he's going to go on one. If you didn't read his Facebook post, he'll reiterate he'll reiterate the rating I'm about to drop on you folks. We agreed that the rating for this, not only is it the fight of the night, it's also the new TV match of the year. Before tonight, the TV match of the year previously was Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in Montreal back on May 4th. The match that Ambrose won to get the title shot at Payback. No. This made that fight look like an absolute dud. 4.5 to 4 3/4 is the rating for this match. It's 4.5 to 4 3/4 stars, folks. I mean, like I said, if only we had a clean finish, either way, it would have been a 5-star classic. Near fall, after near fall, red hot crowd, top-notch commentary from everybody, from Michael Cole, from JBL, to, yes, even Byron Saxton, and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens sat in on commentary during the fight. I mean, everything about that was freaking awesome. And the best part of it all, those 2 little words that we love to use here on this show. Originally coined, of course, by our hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira. Shakespearean drama. If you all like Shakespearean drama, you came to the right place, because this match was chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. Well done, John Cena. Well done, Cesaro. A welcome surprise to all. This is why we love those United States Open challenges. And even with the screwy finish, this was far and away the best United States Open challenge that we have seen yet. What an incredible, incredible match. And the best part is we didn't have to pay, $9.99 for the WWE Network, or, God forbid, $50-$60 on standardized pay-per-view. This is a pay-per-view quality match anywhere. It had a pay-per-view atmosphere. It had a B-level pay-per-view atmosphere, maybe even a WrestleMania atmosphere. I mean, like I said, near fall after near fall after near fall, Shakespearean drama, white hot crowd, top-notch commentary. it's just Owens had to ruin it with the interference there and the disqualification finish. But you already know what's going to happen. We're going to get it. Cena Owens 3 at Battleground. I know I was saying that Kevin Owens was going to win the title come Battleground, but a recent sports blog by Derek Ferreira has me thinking otherwise. I think we're probably going to have a screwy finish at Battleground, and it's going to lead to an immediate rematch, probably at SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam will finally be the blow-off, and if that's the case, I think Kevin Owens, and I think it'll be on that night that Kevin Owens will be the new United States Heavyweight Champion. For that to happen, he has to drop the NXT Heavyweight title. We all know that's going to happen, and you know when it's going to happen. Saturday morning, July 4th, Tokyo, Japan. He's gonna drop the NXT Heavyweight title to Finn Balor. You already know that's coming. I mean, they're going to have a Finn Balor special, for God's sakes, come Thursday night on the WWE Network following SmackDown. If that's not any indication that Balor's going to win the belt, I don't know what is. But what I do know is this is the fight of the night, TV fight of the year, and definitely in my top 3, or top 5 rather, for overall fights of the year in 2015. 4.5 to 4 3/4. Well done, John Cena. Well done, Cesaro. A standing ovation, despite the cluster bleep finish. So with that said, Michael Fletcher, I know you're ready to rip, so have at it.
The thing I have to rip is the DQ finish. I cannot believe WWE pulled the trigger on a DQ finish. That's the one thing that it's eating me up. I was riveted for over 20 minutes. I was on the edge of my seat. I was marking out like a crazy man. Could not believe how awesome this fight was. And then Kevin Owens had to interfere and mess it all up. WWE, you effed up tonight. You effed up in the worst possible way. You had lightning in a bottle. You had the fans in the palm of your hand eating this up. Twitter was exploding. Facebook was going crazy. We were preaching the high heavens of how great this fight was. And then you had to go and F it up by letting Kevin Owens stick his nose where it didn't belong and interfere in this fight. It is eating me up. And that's what's making me so irate about the ending of this fight. Other than that, this was a 4.5 to 4 3/4 of a star of a fight. This was not only fight of the night, not only WWE's television fight of the year, but this is going down as one of the top 5 fights in Monday Night Raw history. I mean, this is in my top 5 of the greatest fights in Raw history. That's a remarkable feat to do. And it was so good, so riveting, so exciting. The match was incredible. And I just feel I feel slighted tonight, Anthony. And that's the one thing that makes me more angry than anything else, is that I think the rug got pulled out from under us just when it got so damn good. And that's what's just eating me alive. And that's what the biggest takeaway is. Great match, exciting action, compelling. Yes, Shakespearean drama, a la Derek Ferreira would normally would say. We had it all, and then you had to muck it with that horrific ending. Now I understand you want to make Kevin Owens look strong, you want to make him look good, you want to say, oh, here he is, he's gonna, he's at least a contender, and he even said, nobody's taking that belt except me. Okay, fine. I like that part of it, no doubt about it. But can't you just do it, do a clean finish, and then have Owens attack him at the end? Attack Cena at the end? I mean, that would have been more suitable. That would have been more better. Let Cena get the win and then Owens attack. I would have been cool with that. That would have solidified the 5-star. But you had to ruin what was undoubtedly one of the best matches I've ever seen in such a long time. And it's a darn shame, too, because they deserve the 5-star rating, Anthony. They deserve it. We were this close from giving it. And then the ending. And that's the thing that's going to be the hardest thing to take away. This deserves 5 stars and beyond, but we can't do it because of what we believe in our rule, in our lore. We've said it. If it was a clean finish, it gets the 5, and it doesn't. And that's a damn shame because they left their everything out in the ring tonight. They deserve the 5 stars, and we should give it 5 stars, but we can't because of the BS finish that we saw tonight. That's one of those where you could yell out Dinkelberg, you could yell out whatever, but I just can't understand it. I don't understand it. 4.5 to 4 3/4. It deserves the 5, but it doesn't get it. Let's move on.
Oh, so close yet so far away. That's all there is to say. So with that said, of course, then after that, there was a backstage vignette with Bray Wyatt, his usual thing. But we're going to move on now to an 8-man tag team matchup. We had the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Primetime Players, and the Lucha Dragons going up against all 3 members of the New Day and Bo Dallas. This was a return match from last Thursday night SmackDown. Winners of the match in 14 minutes and 25 seconds, it was the Primetime Players and the Luchas. So, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on this 8-man?
This was actually a pleasant surprise. Normally, 8-man fights are not that great, not that good at all. And I actually have to say this was right around, I gotta say, about maybe 2.5, verging on 3. I thought this was a decent fight. I thought the action was really good. And you know what? For Mike Bullock, just for you, my friend, tonight it was all about the lucha, 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 lucha. And then to slam the door because the Primetime Players won it is all about the millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars. 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. I thought this was actually a very good 8-man tag. I was pleasantly surprised with this. Well done by everybody. Yeah, it was slow in some parts, but I thought the payoff at the end was a really good fight. I was shocked with this one. This was actually my little sleeper fight of the night, Anthony, because I thought this was gonna be no way, no how. I thought this was gonna be a cool off fight, and it kept the pace going. I thought it was I was openly and pleasantly surprised. This was one of those that was definitely caught me off guard. You're up.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 2.5 to 3 stars. Definitely another one of the top fights of the night. I mean, solid match. I mean, a really good 8-man tag team match. I have to say, I don't know which one was better, if it was this one or if it was the one from SmackDown. I probably would have to say this one was slightly better because I saw the one on SmackDown Thursday night. And yeah, I mean, a very good match, a great effort from all 8 men involved, some good action there. I mean, the Luchas did their high-flying acrobatic stuff that the crowd eats up every time. And, PTP, keep doing their thing. I mean, Titus O'Neil scoring the winning fall on Kofi Kingston with a spine buster and everything else. And, yeah, I mean, live crowd was into it. I mean, I was into it. And, yeah, I was expecting expecting the same thing. Fletch, I agree with you. I mean, I was expecting a little bit of a cool down after that unbelievable match with John Cena and Cesaro. After Cena and Cesaro just absolutely blew us away with that damn near 5-star classic. But this 2.5 to 3 stars, I definitely agree with the rating. Of course, we all know at Battleground, Primetime Players will defend the tag team titles in a return match against the New Day. We just don't know which 2 members of New Day it's going to be. So we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do with that come July 19th. So, yeah, another one of the top fights of the night for sure. And, yes, so with that said, let's move on to our next moment here. It was the other in-ring segment. It was Dolph Ziggler and Lana going public. But they were interrupted by Rusev, and I guess we can say his new manager, I guess you could say, Summer Rae. Like I said at the top of the show, I said, a week ago when we did this show, I said that the in-ring segment, we agreed, the in-ring segments were better than the wrestling matches. This time around, 1 week later, it's the exact opposite. This time around, the wrestling matches were better than the in-ring segments. But I will say it like this though: by default, this has to be the segment of the night because of that cluster bleep segment we had with Rollins and all of them at the start. Um, you know, I know a lot of people are ripping Ziggler and Lana. They say Ziggler and Lana had no chemistry whatsoever. I'm kind of starting to see that myself, which is a damn shame because I was really intrigued with where that was going. Um, Normally, we all know Ziggler is one of the ranks as one of the best talkers in WWE. I thought he was actually a little bit out of place, if I'm being honest with you. And that's rare when it comes to Ziggler because we all know how great Ziggler can. We all remember some of Ziggler's past work. I mean, we all know how great Ziggler is as one of the top talkers in the business. But this time around, he took a step back, a big time step back, and Lana was getting the Stone Cold Steve Austin treatment. She was getting the what chance, if you noticed. And then Rusev and Summer Rae, come down, and Rusev, berates Lana, and Ziggler, goes after him. And then the best part of this segment, far and away for me, Summer Rae. And Summer Rae, a scathing promo on Lana, calling her a two-faced, conniving phony. And then literally slaps the taste out of Lana's mouth. And then Lana goes after Summer Rae, and we get ourselves a cat fight, a la Joey Styles from the ECW. I swear, as that was going down, I swear I could hear Michael Fletcher from a mile away channeling his inner Joey Styles, screaming out the cat fight, like we would always do on our commentary. I bet you he was doing it. We'll find out when we throw it to him in just a moment. But oh my goodness! But what really made this segment to me was the cat fight between Summer Rae and Lana. And I'm not gonna lie here, and I'm not ashamed to say this. Summer Rae and Lana are my two favorite divas. To me, I consider them the two most sexiest and most gorgeous and beautiful divas in WWE today. Those are the two that are right at the top of my my woman crush Wednesday, if you will. That the trend on social media nowadays, hashtag WCW. Well, those two definitely showed you why they are two of my top hashtag WCWs right there, no doubt about it. Oh my goodness, that really made the segment right there. But like I said, wrestling matches were definitely the talk of this show tonight. Whereas last week it was the in-ring segments. This time around, the in-ring segments, neither one of them really stood out. But to me, this one was by default better, mainly because of that cat fight with Lana and Summer Rae. And who knows? Could we be on the verge of Lana's first match as an actual diva wrestler? Summer's had a few matches. Unfortunately, most of them have been on the meh side of things. But why do I have this sneaking feeling we're gonna have a Summer Rae and Lana fight down the road, maybe even at Battleground, with Rusev and Ziggler in their respective corners? Wouldn't surprise me in the least. And if that happens, then I don't know how that's gonna play out, but it could rank as one of the worst diva fights of the year. Because remember, Lana's never wrestled. Summer has wrestled. At first, she was good, but as of late, well, not really. So read into it what you will, but I got the sneaking feeling come Battleground, we're going to have a Lana Summer Rae fight, and Rusev and Ziggler are going to be in their respective corners. So I don't know what else to make of it except that cat fight to me was far and away the payoff of that segment. So Fletch, I got to ask you, before you give your thoughts on that, were you channeling your inner Joey Styles like I thought you were?
Yeah, I was yelling cat fight, no doubt about it. Yeah, I definitely was. But I'll admit this, it was an okay segment. I mean, I'm not jumping for joy. I'm not going to celebrate, say, wow, that was thrilling, that was awesome, that was amazing. Let's see it again. No. it was good for what it was worth. I mean, everybody played their part really well. Yes, Summer Rae was the MVP of the segment, where she made a scathing, just rip job on Lana, which was a thing of beauty. I have to give Summer Rae some credit. She was really good on this promo tonight, no doubt about it. Um, but yes, the cat fight was pretty cool to say. Um, Unfortunately, Rusev is still injured and still out with the ankle injury, so we don't know how long he's going to be out for. It's probably going to be for a while because he's still on crutches and he still has that little foot cast on. So we'll have to wait and see how long he's going to be out for. But I thought this was solid for what it was worth. I'm not gonna jump up and down over it. Um, like I said, it was the segment of the night by default. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get completely behind it. Let's just say that. So, with that said, let's move on.
All right. Moving on, we have ourselves our next matchup here. Well, it gets better. We have the man that gravity forgot, the new sensation, Adrian Neville, going up against Mr. Money in the Bank, the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. It was Sheamus. So, Michael Fletcher, Sheamus and Adrian Neville. What do you say about it?
Solid fight. Another 2 to 2.25, maybe even 2.5 stars. This one got a lot of time. The body of work of both men are so good. They work really good in the ring together. I love this match. I'm very high on Adrian Neville. I think a lot of people know that. Especially when he first came, we were kind of a little worried about what they called the quote unquote the NXT jinx is what we'll call it. But he has not only surpassed the NXT jinx, he has flown, he soared over that jinx. He didn't get caught up in the net like the Ascension did, like Bo Dallas did. He has soared to new heights, and even the NXT champion himself, Kevin Owens, they're the only two right now that has not been basically snake bitten by this NXT jinxes recently and whatnot. You know, Big E had his moment where he first came out and you didn't really know what to expect, but he's kind of soared pretty well. Rollins, I mean, look at him now, WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, I mean, there's a few that has soared, few has fizzled, and there's few that's still jury's out to lunch, especially the Lucha Dragons. I mean, Lucha started out real hot. They kind of petered off a little bit, but now it looks like they're consistent. So they're on the good side of the ledger, just like tonight. Yes, he did lose, but he lost strongly. Great match. And then also you got to give it for Sheamus. You know, he's continuing the momentum, thus winning the Money in the Bank, which I think a lot of people really didn't believe he didn't deserve it. I, for one, can argue that I believe he didn't deserve to be Mr. Money in the Bank, but now that he is, he's definitely getting the momentum. So it's not just a matter of if he's gonna cash in the Money in the Bank. It's now just a matter of when. When is he gonna pull the trigger? When is he gonna go after the belt? When is he trying to cash it in? I think SummerSlam's my first guess. If he doesn't do it then I don't know. Then it's basically it's up to interpretation how that's gonna go. But to me, this was another great fight, no doubt about it. I could say this is about 2.25 to 2.5 stars. Is my rating for this fight. This was a solid match. I loved it. Anthony, go.
With all due respect, Michael Fletcher, I think once again, I think you a little bit underscored this one. Even though I respect your rating, I think this was another. I could say this was honestly another 2.5 to 3 star fight for me. I mean, you basically touched on everything. I mean, solid match. I mean, they both worked great. It was a very good match. I mean, two proven workers. I mean, Sheamus, we all know his resume. I mean, we all know everything he's done. I mean, he's damn near done it all. Adrian Neville, of course, longest running NXT world champion, 289 days. He held that thing. And everybody knows that Adrian Neville is on his way to bigger and better things within the next few years. And I honestly feel within the next few years, at some point, I honestly think he's going to be a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I really do. I really think he's going to. I think he has what it takes, and I think he's more than capable of having a run with that thing. Not now, too early, but I say within the next 2 to 3 years, I think Adrian Neville will be a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Maybe he could even have a WrestleMania moment. Now, how awesome would that be if he were to do it at a future WrestleMania? So, yeah. Sheamus has Mr. Money in the Bank. I mean, I know Derek did a recent sports blog on his sports blog. I'm not sure where I read. I know it was fairly recent that he did a sports blog on a possibility of when he could see Sheamus cashing in. There's a possibility that he thinks it could be right around WrestleMania next year. Very possible, or maybe sometime, or maybe shortly after WrestleMania. I don't know. I think that's what Derek said in one of his recent sports blogs about Sheamus as Mr. Money in the Bank. So check it out on the sports blog site, which is a great read all the time. So yeah, I do agree with Fletcher's sentiments. I mean, if not SummerSlam, then when will Sheamus cash in Money in the Bank? But here's one thing that I'm going to throw out there. I don't see Sheamus failing. I think when the day does come that Sheamus does cash in, I think Sheamus wins the belt. I really do. I think Sheamus is destined to be, once again, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, he hasn't been that in quite a few years. And I think he'll finally get his moment in the sun there. So when that is, we don't know. I mean, way too early to speculate on it. But what I do know is this was a very good match. Another one of the top fights of the night for sure. Great action, very solid action throughout the match. Nothing to complain about here. Once again, I slightly disagree with Michael Fletcher's rating. He says it was between 2.25, 2.5. I think it was more like 2.5 to 3 for me. So solid matchup there, definitely. So with that said, we're gonna move on to our next matchup. It was King Barrett going one-on-one with the Real American Jack Swagger. Winner of the match in 1 minute and 50 seconds. It was King Barrett. I'm sorry, this was another dud. Second worst fight of the night. I honestly thought the Big Show Henry fight was slightly worse, but this was basically a squash match for King Barrett. I'm glad Barrett's finally starting to win some fights now. That's a good thing, but Jack Swagger, unfortunately, he's in that dud enhancement club, unfortunately. I mean, here's a guy who 5 years ago, WrestleMania 26, wins the Money in the Bank ladder match. Just a couple days later, cashes in on Friday Night SmackDown, wins the World Heavyweight Championship, holds it for a couple months, and then, well, he's had some moments. Don't get me wrong. He's had some moments. I mean, he's had that. That was his biggest moment far and away. And then, of course, he had a run as the United States Heavyweight Champion, a former ECW World Champion early in his career, and then winning the Elimination Chamber match a couple of years ago to earn the right to face Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 29. And he was in the world title picture for a little bit. And had a decent gimmick with the Real Americans with him and Cesaro and of course Zeb Coulter. Zeb's been nowhere to be seen for the last few months. So yeah, oh how the mighty have fallen for Jack Swagger, and I feel bad for him. But hey, at least Barrett's starting to win some fights now. That's a good thing. So I don't know what's next for Barrett. I don't know if they're going to keep that silly feud with R-Truth going, even though we haven't really seen anything from R-Truth lately, which is a good thing. So I don't know. I don't know what's next for King Bad News, but hey, at least he won a match. That's good. Slowly but surely, hopefully they'll start getting him back on the right track. So another dud, second worst fight of the night by a slim margin. So Fletch, yours.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dud, second worst fight of the night. It really was meaningless to say the very least. It does like you said, Barrett gets a big victory because that gives him at least some momentum, which is good for him. But it's insignificant. You know, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't twitch the needle in a positive direction. It basically keeps the thing stagnant. There's really nothing more to say about it. You kind of was very entailed about what your personnel or your personal feelings about it, and I can't disagree with that at all. For me, it just doesn't suit me whatsoever, and it doesn't really, I guess you could say, it doesn't really tickle my fancy either. So let's just say it like that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It was a good fight, not a great fight. I think we can all agree at least with something like that. But as far as it goes, or as far as anything in the personnel department or personal feelings, I truly believe, you kind of made it very clear about what went down, what the personal thoughts about the fight is. So no doubt about it. I agree with you wholeheartedly with that personal opinion. This could have been a lot better than what it was. Unfortunately, it is a letdown. Dud, maybe second worst fight of the night. That's always debatable, but it is a dud nonetheless. Anthony, let's go.
And it's main event time here on the Wrestling Forum as we will now get into the main event. It was a no disqualification tag team match. WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and Corporate Kane going up against the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 40 seconds, it was Seth Rollins and Kane. So, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on the main event?
Tremendous main event. This worked out like a charm, no doubt about it. I love this fight. I gotta say, at least 3 to 3.5 stars is my rating for it. And the reason why I give it is because, this was a no DQ fight. Authority shenanigans was guaranteed. We were gonna see it. So this time, how does it do in the scope of it? It actually worked really well. And not only that, but the Bray Wyatt surprise on a Roman Reigns, when Roman looks like he was about to finish everything off, end the fight on a high note, and send everybody happy. No, Wyatt shows up, beats him down, gets a mauling attack on him. That's fine because we already know how awesome the fight between Wyatt and Roman Reigns is gonna be. I can't wait for this fight now. I'm like over the moon about this fight. And then on top of that, we had a major payoff because it also gives the solidification that Kane is in board, or is on board. So is J&J Security and Seth Rollins, which is good because of the fact that it gives them an opportunity to say, hey, we're united, we're ready for Brock Lesnar, and we're gonna try to beat him down and have our guy Seth Rollins keep the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So they made him look strong. I think this was actually, for once, I like to see the heels go over tonight. So I actually think this was a very satisfying way to end Monday Night Raw, to say the very least. I thought this was actually a good way to end it. 3 to 3.5 stars is my rating. I thought this was the second best fight of the night because I thought it was definitely, it told a great story. Plus, it also tied in a lot of loose ends. Not only with Wyatt and Roman Reigns, but it also opens the door maybe for Roman to go after Seth Rollins, if in case Rollins actually does indeed successfully defend the title over Brock Lesnar, because I actually found a dirt sheet that proves otherwise. So let's just wait and see what happens there. But with that said, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, once again, I agree with you, Fletch. Second best fight of the night. Slight disagreement on the rating. I'm going to say it was 3 to 3.25 stars for my taste. But I do agree with you. It was the second best fight of the night, no question about it. I mean, the no disqualification element definitely was welcome in this case. I'm glad it wasn't a meaningless tag team matchup. Initially, that's what I thought it was. I mean, when I first heard about this match on a Friday night, as we were doing Strictly Sports, when we were recapping the NBA draft, as you know, I came across the dirt sheet saying that a match was announced for Raw, and it was this fight, and it was initially announced as a tag team match, but then I noticed on the little promo that they do just before Raw starts on the USA Network, it was then announced as a no disqualification match. I'm like, okay, this might actually be something. This might actually make it better. And yes, I think the no DQ element made the match better. It was definitely one of those rare times where that was actually necessary and acceptable. So definitely, and yeah, you're right. I mean, Seth Rollins is definitely, I mean, the last 2 weeks, go figure, the last 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins and the Authority standing tall. Last week it was Brock Lesnar. This week it was Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns, not only did he get taken out by the Authority, he also got taken out by Bray Wyatt. I mean that was expected. We all knew Bray Wyatt was going to get involved in one way, shape, or another. So yeah. But yeah, very good main event. One of the better main events we've seen in a while. And since we had a no disqualification finish, this is one of those rare times where Authority shenanigans were actually welcome and actually necessary and acceptable, even though we always rip on it each and every week, mainly myself and Michael Bullock, considering that we roll with the Yes Movement. So, yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to say about it. I mean, Rollins and Lesnar, of course, for the title at Battleground. Of course, we all know Roman Reigns against Bray Wyatt and Kane. Maybe Kane against Dean Ambrose. I don't know. That's not really set in stone yet, but based on the way things are going right now, maybe we can get an Ambrose and Kane fight. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I definitely agree. Second best fight of the night, 3 to 3.25 stars. And with that, we're going to move on to our overall review of Monday Night Raw, and I'm going to start it off. And this is simple arithmetic. It's a solid 8 out of 10 tonight because of the fact that we had several quality matches tonight. None more quality than John Cena and Cesaro. I mean, that was a pay-per-view quality match, and we got that on free television tonight. We didn't have, like I said, we didn't have to pay $9.99 for the WWE Network or $50-$60 for the traditional pay-per-view, standardized pay-per-view. For those of you who still do that, I don't know why, but nonetheless, Cena and Cesaro on the verge of being a 5-star classic, and Kevin Owens' interference ruined it, and it took it down to 4.5 to 4.75. But we definitely agree it's not only the fight of the night, but it's also the TV fight of the year, and definitely one of the best matches of the year so far, and also, without question, one of the greatest matches in Monday Night Raw history. I definitely agree with Fletcher's sentiment on that, without a doubt. That was the fight of the night. Second best fight of the night, the main event. Ambrose and Reigns against Rollins and Kane, no DQ. I'd have to say the third best fight of the night would probably be Sheamus and Adrian Neville. Correction. I'm going to say the 8-man tag was the third best fight of the night. And then fourth best fight of the night, I gave that a good 2.5 to 3, but I think that 8-man was just a smidge better than Sheamus and Neville, which I also rated 2.5 to 3 there. And then you have to say the Diva fight with Paige and Alicia Fox. They definitely had a surprising match. We didn't think that was going to be anything good, but boy, they definitely surprised the hell out of us. That was a solid matchup there. And then you also had a fairly okay match with Ryback and The Miz. So really 6 quality matches on the show tonight. But one of the reasons why it's an 8 out of 10 is because of that unbelievable match with John Cena and Cesaro. I mean, those 6 fights were, to me, the highlight of the show tonight. Lowlights, of course, the 2 worst fights. You had 2 dud enhancement fights, Big Show and Mark Henry, and King Barrett and Jack Swagger. Those were far and away the 2 worst fights of the night, maybe co-worst fights of the night, because they were both equal in distance, although the Barrett-Swagger fight lasted 30 seconds longer than the Big Show-Henry fight did. Henry-Big Show was only 1:20. Barrett-Swagger was 1:50. But that's all there is to it. Those 2 were the worst. Those were the 2 worst fights of the night, far and away. the opening segment with Seth Rollins, that was a cluster bleep and a train wreck. And but then again, I could say the same thing about the segment with Dolph Ziggler, Lana, Rusev, and Summer Rae. Even though, in my opinion, Summer Rae literally saved that segment, and the cat fight with Lana definitely put that segment over the top. I'm actually going to throw that segment in the middle of the road category, really in the meh category, and then the other three are definitely lowlights, the two dud fights and that opening segment. But other than that, 6 quality matches, and the in-ring work far and away was better. The wrestling matches were far and away better than the in-ring segments, whereas a week ago, the in-ring segments were better than the wrestling matches itself. Because none of the wrestling matches really stood out last week, but you had 6 really quality matches. Of course, the one that stood out far and away, no doubt, John Cena and Cesaro for the United States Heavyweight Championship. So very good Monday Night Raw tonight. Definitely a much better show than last week. And to me, it's a solid 8 out of 10. And next Monday night, Michael Fletcher, Monday Night Raw is coming to the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. Brace yourself. Is that going to be a lot of fun? Solid 8 out of 10. Fletch, your overall thoughts on tonight's show?
I agree. 8 out of 10 is my rating. This was an absolute amazing show tonight. No doubt about it. The body of work of everybody in tonight's show was very good. Going into it, I was really optimistic about the show. Didn't know how they were going to play it out. I literally almost gave up after the first segment, but I stuck to my guns. I was like, okay, I'll give you one more chance to do it. First hour, absolute probably throwaway. Didn't really care much about it. But the final 2 hours was probably the best 2 hours of wrestling I've seen in quite a long time. I was riveted. I was excited. I was basically everything I was hoping for, I got. And that's as good as you can get. So for me, 8 out of 10, no doubt about it. Florio, let's just wrap it up.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put the bow on this abbreviated edition of the Wrestling Forum. That's what happens when you only have 2 panelists here instead of 3 or 4.
Got it done in about an hour or so, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I know, huh? So,
Thing of beauty. Like it.
Yeah, I wish it could be that way all the time. But nonetheless, it's time for our shout-outs. And Michael Fletcher, you started off, and then I'll take it home.
All right. First off, shout out to all the great fans out there who watches the Wrestling Forum. Thank you so much, as always. Of course, I have to give much love to all the super fans out there. You guys know who you guys are. Of course, my friends in the junior high and high school days, and then my 2184 crew. A lot of them were all excited about this Monday Night Raw. I got a little call. I got a little chit chat with my buddy Jimmy Silva. He's like, "Come on, Fletcher. You probably know more about WWE than anybody else. Give me a reason why to watch Monday Night Raw. Or give me a reason why to stay up for the 3 hours." Jimmy, if you saw this show tonight, you were riveted enough. You probably had a good reason to watch and stay up for 3 hours. This was awesome tonight, my friend. Of course, basically can't wait to talk to you guys about it tomorrow. And then of course, that's it. I'll be available for is there a show on Friday night, Anthony? I believe there is. I don't know.
No, there's not. No.
Oh, that's right, 4th of July weekend. All right. Right. So as always, I hope you guys have a happy and safe 4th of July. Please do not mess with the fireworks. Leave it to the pros. There's actually a big fireworks display going down in Pawtucket on the 2nd and the 3rd. I know East Providence is doing theirs on the 3rd. As always, unfortunately, I will not be there. They got me working that night. Ugh, how much of a buzzkill is that? But anyway, as always, much love to you guys. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. I'll see you guys 1 week from tonight for another edition of the Wrestling Forum. Anthony, let's take it home.
Take it home indeed. Of course, we want to thank you also very much for tuning in to this abbreviated edition of the Wrestling Forum. Like I said, very fast-paced show here tonight with only 2 panelists. That's how that was expected. So Yeah, so special, of course, a special shout out to all of our tremendous fans out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, our super fans, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, Megan Silva, Kaiser Butler, and of course, our friends from our high school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, and Rob Parsons, and of course, our two extra special shout outs, of course, to our two fellow brothers in arms, of course, the hardcore pipe bomb Derek Ferreira, who, as you all know, is on the is taking a leave of absence, has been on a little bit of a leave of absence from the Wrestling Forum. We don't know, like I said, we don't know when he's coming back, but until he does, I'll be filling in for him each and every week until he's ready to come back. So we hope it's soon, but it's really up to him. So whenever you decide to come back, brother, I'll hold the fort down for you. Like I said, it's in good hands. Don't worry about it. I got it all under control. So yeah. So but we miss you, brother. We miss you, Derek, and we hope to have you back very soon because this show is not the same without you, man. It really isn't. But then again, I can say the same thing without our other panelists, our other brother in arms, of course, the final man rounding out the four and the Fortune Four, our phenom, Michael Bullock. It was 50-50 on whether he was going to be with us tonight. As you know, Michael Bullock this past weekend went up to New Hampshire with his folks for a family vacation. He said there was a slight chance he was possibly going to be on the show, but like I said, just as the show started, he messaged me. He sent me a Facebook message saying that the Wi-Fi connection was not good where he was, so he had to drop out of tonight's show. I know he felt bad. I know he wanted to be on tonight's show as always, but it is what it is. But I can confirm he'll be back with us next week as well. So yeah. And since, of course, we're not going to have a show Friday night, of course, all of our sports personalities, you all know who they are by now. We're not going to rehash that. The usual folks, of course, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, and Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, former co-hosts, Stata Sorrell, Lindsay McCormick, and Crystal Tooney, and everybody else, and of course, last but not least, of course, my church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street, of course, in Providence. They're wonderful folks. I always tell you, if you ever need a church home, check them out. They're amazing. Sunday morning services at 10 a.m. and then Bible study on Wednesday nights at 7. Definitely worth your time to check out. And that's pretty much it. So remember, Friday night, there will not be a Strictly Sports show. We will be taking this Friday off due to the 4th of July holiday and the festivities that surround it. So we'll be back with you next Monday night for another all-new edition of the Wrestling Forum as we will review next Monday night's edition of Monday Night Raw, which will be live from the Allstate Arena, formerly the Rosemont Horizon in suburban Chicago, Illinois. Matt Ward's neck of the woods. So, and of course, as I always call it, the IWC capital of the world. That should be a fun-ass show, as if tonight's show wasn't any indication. So, oh boy, brace yourself, because you know how rowdy those Chicago crowds can get. We know how rowdy those crowds can get in Chi-Town. So yeah, so that's it. I'll do it for this edition of the Wrestling Forum. So until next Monday night, it is ridiculously over Anthony Florio for the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Hardcore Python Derek Ferreira and the Phenom Michael Bullock, saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great rest of the week, and have a safe and happy 4th of July weekend. Don't do any, nog, diva, idiot, Dinkelberg things, on the roads. And of course, with the pyro, like Fletcher says, leave it to the professionals. I 100% agree with that. So until next Monday night for another edition of the Wrestling Forum, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. For now, Anthony Florio. So long.